I'm back, like I said, to talk about episode 6 and 7 of Heaven's Official's Blessing. So this is a new video. So if you haven't, make sure you like and you subscribe, or wherever the buttons are. So episode 6 and 7 unfortunately ends the domestic bliss of our couple, Sailing and Lian, with the introduction at the end of, I don't even think I mentioned this part at the end of it, but with the introduction of this old ass man who came with like sand all over, and he's like, "Ah, I'm old." So Sailing and Lian bring him in, but of course this old man turns out to be a demon, and I was like, of course. But what I loved about that entire scene is you got Sandling over there sitting, just side-eyeing the fuck out of this old man, like, I will fuck you up. And then Shylan over there playing good cop, and I'm like, hey, drink water, old man. And then, like, when he became a demon, like, that demon caught all them hands. And I was like, that's my boo. He's cute but smart. So he figured out that was a demon, and he's just like, what's all of this about? And I'll be honest, I was like, I don't remember this plot. There's like 50 okay, I might be embellishing, but there are a lot of mysteries that end up being solved in Heaven's Official's Blessing. And I did not pay attention to probably the first half of all. I was just like, where's Sailing? Where's watching? What are y'all doing? So watching the show, it's just as a surprise for me. So it's kind of like surprise for me, surprise for you guys. I remember the whole general plot, the overarching plot, but minute details like why I'm supposed to care about I want to call it Chrysanthemum. Why I'm supposed to care about Crescent Land. I don't know. But this old man turns out to be a demon. They take him out, and this kicks off the mystery of the episode. That Shylan had to leave Hua Chang, Sailing, but whatever, he has to go into the eye god cloud and speak to Ling Wen. And Ling Wen is in there with a bunch of other gods, and like there's like a bunch of feathers just floating everywhere, and Shylan is like, what's going on? And Ling Wen is basically like, oh well, the Wind Master is making it rain. It's just like, well, what? She didn't say that specifically. She was like, the Wind Master just came through, and he's like giving everybody credits, he's giving everybody money, and that to me is basically saying he's making it rain. And I'm just like, okay, he's a very generous god, why? But all these people are thirsty. Like even somebody got like one denomination of whatever, it was like, I got one. I was just like, wow, this is interesting, but I guess free is free. And Shylan is like, okay then, I'm not interested in this, but can you let me know about Crescent Land? And through Ling Wen, we sort of find out a little bit more about like this desert land. I wasn't paying too much attention, but let's see what she says. She doesn't say much. I mean, like, she gives him enough information about, like, the land, but he goes back and he's telling Sailing basically everything he found out. But what is more important is that as he's sharing this information and, you know, sort of having a quiet moment with the boo, it's like, had a long day at work, this is what happened. We find out that, like, some kind of war broke out in Crescent Land, of course, and, like, they were a warrior people, but also like they loved, like, I don't know. I was just like, where is this going? Because there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm not even gonna pretend I can connect the dots. But but Shylan tells him about this place, Crescent Land, and like there's a curse involved, blah blah blah. Next up, after like explaining all of that, who shows up? I'm gonna get it this time. Nan Fang and Fu Yao. Bam! Because I wrote it down. But those two idiots show up. And again, so if you don't remember, this is basically Lian's like ex-best friend and ex like right-hand soldier man from when he was crown prince, and they're pretending to not be themselves and to be junior gods so they can help him out, and instead of just being like, we should probably talk about our issues. But what friends want to talk about their issues? Get out of here. But they're back and being dysfunctional, and they hate Sandlang immediately. They're like, who is he? Did you run his credit? How do we know we can trust him? They're so crotchety and angry. Nan Feng specifically, but it's almost like protective for Lian, even though they haven't given a fuck in like 800 years. But you know, if Lian is not angry, I am not angry. But what ends up happening is they've got this mystery with this demon showing up related to Crescent Land. And then you've got Nan Yang, and you've got, Jesus Christ, you've got Nan Feng, and you've got Fu Yao showing up, sort of being like they're there to help. We get like these little comedic moments where it's tense. It's going to be tense between Sandlang and the dynamic duo over there. But, you know, whatever. They're heading out. I think Nan Feng was the one who made like the transportation like metal. Yeah. So they're transported to this place. I don't really like this place. Like, it's not flashy enough. It's fucking desert. Like, whoop-de-doop, I'm the worst. I know. I feel about Crescent Land the way the gods in the show feel about Crescent Land. If they're not contributing to the plot, they are. I'm being facetious. But if they're not contributing to the plot, why should I care? And the gods are like, if they're not praying to us, why should we? The gods are asses. But they head out. They are in this desert. Sandlang is so cute at one point. This guy's little like red thing up, and he's like, I'm hot. And Lian tries to give him his little hat. And he's like, okay, no, I'm not. I'm fine. It's almost like he just wanted to sulk. And Lian, being the person that he is, who can just give you the shirt off his back. And that is what makes Sandlang love him, what makes everybody love him, even though they don't want to admit it. But, you know, it's unquestionable. So in episode 6, titled Lost Crescentian, by the way, not Lost Crescentinum, that's just something completely different because I'm horrible. Them arriving in this desert place gives us, the viewer, the chance to buy into the story. There's an imperator who, there's an evil Taoist, and I'm really trying to go off memory. There's an evil Taoist imperator from this place that learned magic, and like people from the Central Plains came to like fuck with them to get their land, and it's like, it's in the middle of the desert. I don't understand why they wanted. There's like nothing of value. It's like a desert, and somehow they managed to like build a kingdom there, but like there's no I guess one, like, it's not like it's a city, but it's like, why do you want it Central Plains? It feels like the Central Plains wants it just because it's there. But anyway, the people of Crescentia are like, or Crescent Land, Jesus Christ, are like, you're not taking our shit. And they have this powerful imperator, and she's just like, I will burn all this shit down before I let you have it. And what that looks like is it's a curse. So she's like, the curse is every soldier that dies basically becomes a ghost soldier. So even if everyone dies, when the invading army comes in, you have ghost soldiers there. So you will never want to stay here. So even in death, they want... kind of petty. It works, but like everybody's also dead, so it's kind of sad. But yeah, that's sort of the story of what's going on, or the people involved, put it that way. And then you've got Nan Fang, you've got Fu Yao, you've got them just continuing to not like Lian, trying to test him. At one point, like, they try to give him truth serum, and like Lian just wants to drink like Lian's backwater spit from the same bottle because he's a freak. And then from there you have them giving him a sword, and this sword is a sword that used to belong to like Lian like centuries ago, like when he was still popping. And they give this sword, it's supposed to like activate when there's a ghost around, and Lian and Lian is just like, oh, it's broken. Again, this is how powerful he is. It's like stuff that's supposed to work on the majority does not work on him at all. But also, like, they broke the sword. They were so sad. Lian's like, it's cool, don't worry. But yeah, so outside of, you know, they do serve their purpose as comedic relief. Outside of, you know, us just wanting to gaze at Lian, like, because he is just beautiful. We get some beautiful shots in the desert, and then we get some beautiful shots in the desert between like just everyone on the sand, the moments between Lian and Lian. But by the end of it, this wind comes out of nowhere and just sweeps Lian away. And it's just like, what happened? And that's where they leave it, because of course it's a cliffhanger. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? So episode 7 takes us somewhere completely different, where, you know, I wasn't expecting. You know, after they're in the desert, well, first we get this cute scene where Lian is swept away. You immediately think, oh shit, save him. But Lian ends up saving everyone else. Another reason why he's just Bae number 1000. So he saves everyone else. We find Haven. We meet some new human characters. There's this little cheeky ass kid that we meet, and then there's this guy that I call Lian 2.0 because he looks just like Lian. I don't understand what's going on there either. Nan Fang, Fu Yao, they're there. They do what they do. Lian and Lian at this point are very much a couple. They are in sync. They are on the same page. They're there supporting each other. We find out the story of some general that I'm sure once they reveal the mystery, we're going to find out, like, that's not what happened. There's some general during this time that was so bad. They kept losing troops to the point where they had no troops. And everyone's like, oh, well, he saved... Like, I guess he was, like, all about, like, saving everyone regardless of if it was his side or the enemy side. And you can't do that now. So... he was doing that then, or her, we don't know. They kind of just say the general. So this dude sucked, kept losing all his honors to the point that one day he was walking, tripped, and got trampled to death, and they built like a grave for him. And I was just like, and oh, okay, and everyone was just like, well, he's stupid. And Lian, it's sort of in comparison to Lian, who he's very much about the little picture, about the moment, about who he wants to save right now. He's very much so the person who will save, like when they're like, well, would you kill one person to save 1,000? He would save that one person because that one person is valuable. Like there's no scale to it. And that's sort of the way this general thought, and everybody else is like, well, he's stupid. And Lian, of course, is bashful because it's a reflection on him. But outside of that, all of a sudden there are snakes. Like, just, I'm like, why are there? Like, all these people have been in this cave for so long, and all of a sudden, like, just scorpion cave snakes. Who sent them? Like, that's my first thought. How did they get here? Who sent them? Guan knows he's going to Crescent Land Is there someone perhaps like behind the scenes trying to find out information? Trying to stop information? Like, again, you have, for most shows like this, outside of the little mysteries, there's always a bigger mystery behind it. Now to the heartbreak of episode 7. You've got these stupid ass snakes. They bite this old man. I was like, oh my God, of course, one of the humans got bit. And you've got like this non-committal tour guide who is taking folks through this barren desert. Again, I don't know why, but whatever. And he gets bitten, and the tour guide's like, well, he's going to be dead in 4 hours. And then Feng is like, well, I've got this cure, so he'll live for 24 hours. And everyone's sort of like resigned to this, right? They're like, well, thumbs the brakes. But of course, Lian wants to find a way to save this man. We find out there's a crescent fern in Crescent Land that is a cure. And this is one of the many reasons people go to Crescent Land. But I'm like, if you did not go to Crescent Land and did not cross into a barren desert with scorpion snakes, maybe you wouldn't need this fern at the end of the journey. You guys see, like, if I am wrong, please fix this story in my head, because I just, again, y'all should have just left these folks alone. Like, why do you guys keep going to their fallen kingdom? But yeah, this old man is bit. Lian is concerned, and then out of nowhere, Lian himself gets bit. Which I like it, because if you compare it to the earlier scene when Stan Lang caught the snake, he didn't get bit because he was like, pow, pow. And then like Lian was like, pow. No, Lian was like, pow, pow. And like he didn't catch it and he got stung. And then, you know, the show creators, everyone just decided to give the fans more fan service than we deserve, because when Lian gets bit, Stan Lang decides to help him by cauterizing a knife and sucking the blood or the poison out of Lian's hand. And it's like, why are you guys like this? But of course, all this does is it ratchets it up the stake, because it's like, we didn't give a fuck about an old human man, like, possibly dying from this. But like, if you throw Lian into the picture, we have 24 hours. Our boo can't die. Like, Stan Lang will break the earth if Lian dies. Also, they can go back to the immortal realm. That's an option. But Lian doesn't want to take that option, because like, he wants to save that old man, or at least try to save that old man. So we're going to get a lot of different things sort of converging. We're going to get Crescent Land. There's some kind of mystery going on with these two women. One, again, is supposed to be the evil Taoist, and the other, I don't remember, like, just shenanigans. But they also are aware that they're being followed. So how they intersect with Lian and crew is going to be interesting going forward. Like, what's the connection? Yeah, like all these shots. So it's more of it's a life lesson kind of episode, right? It's don't go into a barren desert to solve a mystery. That's one. What kind of lessons did you guys pick up from episode 6 and 7? Feel free to share them below in the comment section. I would like to know. But yeah, so that's it, guys. I will be back way sooner than I was for episode 5, 6, and 7. For episode 8, that will be coming out shortly, because I need to get back on some kind of schedule in life. So I am recording back to back to back and trying to get on schedule. So again, like, subscribe. Thank you. If you don't listen to the podcast, there is an actual podcast on all the podcast directories. I record it's a weekly podcast. Right now we're covering The Mandalorian. I also talk about like Chinese dramas, K-dramas, K-pop music. We're coming up at the end of our yearly show, so take a look. Come check it out. It's a fantastic podcast that I have somehow been blessed with for the last 6 years with, and also I have a lot of friends who come on and they're amazing co-hosts. So yeah, TV movie mistress on all your podcast directories. So that's it. Thank you guys.